All right, so we are back with another video. Now, in today's video, I'm going to be going over all of the adjustments that I'm going to be making on my first clothing brand samples. Now, if you saw the last video, I went over every single measurement that I submitted for those samples, which was the hoodie and the sweatpants. So if you haven't seen that video, go ahead and check that out. That was the video right before this one. I'll link it up here so you can check it out and see exactly what my findings were. As you would already know by now, my manufacturer is in China. And for this entire month, which is currently the month of February that I'm filming this, they were on their Chinese New Year holiday, which means they haven't been working. So that gave me time to kind of go through everything and kind of look at some of the things I wanted to address. But today they started back to work. Well, yesterday they started back to work. Today I have a video call scheduled with my manufacturer. So I went ahead and made a list of all of the things I wanted to address, and I'm going to go over those with you. I put everything on my phone here in a notes app. The things that I want to focus on really is, if you saw the previous videos, the colors of the brown and green sweatsuit, they weren't as close to the Pantone reference that I submitted. So my goal is to get those much closer to that, which I feel like we should be able to with the fabric wash, the vintage wash that the material went through. I think they just have to do it longer to achieve that color. The colors right now are a little bit too saturated, and I don't want them to be that saturated. So that's what I'm gonna try to figure out. The next thing, and these are more of like an overview, not necessarily specific to a hoodie or a pants. I have those listed next. These are more in general adjustments. The next thing is how the tags are sewn in. Of course, there's something that you guys couldn't see. The care tag, the way they sewed it in, it was almost like it cut off the back care instructions. And of course, I don't like that. So I gotta address how that is sewn in. The next thing is the embroidery. The hoodie and the sweatpants have embroidery on the chest, the left chest and the left leg. It's just not a clean finish on the inside of the garment. It's something that you can't see from the outside, of course, but my goal here is to produce luxury quality garments. Even though you can't necessarily see it, I want my customers to feel like they have something that is of luxury quality, just as I would want it to be if I purchased something like this. I wouldn't want the inside of that to look all shoddy and loose threads. Like I don't like that. So I want to make sure that they can address that with the next samples. Next, we have the hoodie and the pants adjustments. Now, before I mention those, I just want to remind you that the other round of samples were already finished. So my goal, hopefully, is to make these adjustments. They were finished, but they didn't get a chance to get washed. So my goal is to make these adjustments before the washing, and then hopefully get the wash color correct. So for the hoodie, if you saw the last video, the black hoodie, the body length and the sleeve length was a bit short. Again, these samples are already remade, and before we remade them, we did talk about the allowance for my measurements being as close as possible. So I'm expecting, even though I didn't get the chance to measure these yet, I'm expecting for those other samples, the measurements to be a little bit closer without me even telling him about it, but I still put this down because I want to address it. The next thing was the waistband. For one of them, which one was that? For one of the colors, well, for two of the colors, the brown and the black, the waistband was a little more on the looser side, and I want that to be more of a fitted waistband to create that silhouette. If you flip the waistband up, that's kind of what I prefer to do, with it being more of a fitted waistband that allows for it to stay put without coming undone. I think that just creates a better silhouette. I think it just has better structure when it's done like that. Two of those colors, again, the brown and the black, it was a little bit more on the looser side. It still did flip up, but my concern is it won't stay that way when it being a little bit looser how it is now. The next adjustment for the hoodie, and I'm hoping that these second samples are better, but if not, this is something they're gonna have to fix when we move forward with production, because I want this kangaroo pocket to be a little bit bigger than it is. And that's the kangaroo pocket height and the width. The last video I mentioned that the kangaroo pocket was off by a little bit, and the width was off by 2 centimeters. That's like almost 3/4 of an inch. And yep, the width was off in the center and at the bottom. The width was off by 2 centimeters. And then the height was off by 1 centimeter. The black was off by like 1.5 centimeters. I guess the height isn't as bad considering that that's within the allowance, but the width was not accurate. The next thing is going to be the hood. So as I mentioned with the last video, the hoodie, there's an overlap right there in the front. They made that 1 inch and I wanted it to be 1.5 inches. So hopefully the samples that are already remade are like this. If not, then that's something that we have to make sure is finished and corrected with production. But those are the adjustments that I'm going to be mentioning for the hoodie, or just things that I want my manufacturer to keep in mind when it comes to the hoodie. For the pants didn't really have as much. The main thing are, well, there's a few things that I wanted to look at when it comes to the pants, aside from the color, because that's more general. The back pocket height. The height of the back pocket, they left that about 1.5 inches short, and I want that pocket to have a little more depth. Like, I just want it to be taller. Like, I want it to be a little bit deeper than what it is. So I want them to look at that. The total length of the pants, I talked about this in the past couple of videos, possibly making that just maybe like 1 centimeter longer, which is like 1/4 inch, not a tad, but that's something to look at and talk about. And the last thing for the pants is going to be the taper towards the ankle. So I've already talked about this in the other videos, but I want to get that taper more streamlined as it gets down to the cuff, because I don't like how roomy and like balloony it is. I'm just not a fan of that. However, on body, it doesn't look horrible if I'm being honest, but it's still not a preference. But what I have to do to be able to communicate how much I want them to bring that in, I have to figure out how much. So I'm actually going to do that in this video. I'm going to be making an adjustment with one of the colors. I think I'm going to use the brown. I'm going to make an adjustment with, I think I'm going to use safety pins. I talked about sewing last time, but honestly, that's just going to take too long. So I think I'm going to just use safety pins. It's going to be much easier to remove and fine tune and make those adjustments, and then figure out how much I want that to come in. I'm going to do one leg. So one leg will be done, one leg will be undone. I'm going to show you guys and then see what you're thinking. But again, I still will be communicating these to my manufacturer tonight. Then hopefully we can get these fixed on these pieces before I receive them. That's my goal. If not all of these things corrected, at least as many of them as possible. Some of them probably can be fixed with actual production. I would like to get some of these, as many as I can, fixed before I receive these other samples. Anyway, let's see how much we're gonna take in that leg to get it that taper. I have these brown pair of sweatpants, which are from, I believe, Abercrombie. I went ahead and lined them up right on top of my samples just to get a look at what that leg difference is looking like. And as you can see, there is about maybe 1/2 inch up in the thigh area, and then it comes down to almost about 1 inch right here around the cuff. I'm going to use these as my guide just to make those adjustments and try to get it a little bit more closer of a taper like this, because I like the fit of these throughout the leg, and of course mine is just a little bit too wide as it approaches the leg. So that's what we're going to do. All right, so I got my safety pins, and what I gotta do first is start by turning the sweatpants inside out, and I'm going to adjust the right leg just so I can have a point of good measure. This should be the right leg. This is the right leg. This is on the left. Yeah, right leg. All right. So we have the correct leg we're gonna be operating on, and then we have this brown pair as a point of reference. And I just gotta make sure I get everything flat, line it all up. This takes a little bit of time to get it right. And then once I do get it right, I'm just gonna go down the leg by adding the safety pins. And that's gonna allow for me to get a good look at it. All right, so I think I got it good enough. And now I'm probably gonna add maybe like, let's see, if I add one here, add one here. I'm laying them down right on top of the pants just to get a good gauge of how many I'm gonna add. Because because I don't know how many I need. And I just only want them to be about maybe 1.5 inches apart. I can add more, but then it'll be more than I need. Usually about 1.5 inches is good enough. Maybe 2 inches. Anything further apart than that, you end up being able to see the gaps while you're wearing it. So I laid 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I laid 8 of them on top. So now we're just gonna go in and add them, basically following the guide of the pants already laid right on top. And then once we're done with this, then I'll try them on, see if any adjustments I have to be made, or see if I like the fit. If I do like the fit, of course, I then communicate that to my manufacturer, see what kind of measurements are needed, or see how he would prefer for me to measure and provide him those measurements, and then make sure we can get the fit right. Fit is extremely important, and as of right now, the fit is not quite there. Trying to make sure I'm have the proper spacing between them. I said I would do about 1.5 inches, but some of these are only looking like 1 inch. If I gotta add one more, I will. I don't feel like removing any. Getting down towards the bottom is getting a little bit difficult for whatever reason. I'm not entirely sure why. I think I'm gonna add maybe like 2 more. I'm missing the mark on some of these. I'm not getting the safety pin straight. It's almost like slanted, and of course I don't want that. I want it to look like it's a clean line, so I gotta get the adjustment right. Yeah, I'm struggling with this one. Sheesh, damn it, why am I not getting this? I think that's good enough. Yeah, that's good enough. I'm going to add 1 more, 2 more, 1 more. I think that should be good. All right, so let me show you what this is looking like. So those are the safety pins throughout the leg. As you can see, it kind of starts from like the mid-thigh area and then goes all the way down to provide that taper. All we gotta do now is just try it on. This looks so much better. Let me know what you guys think. I'm looking in the mirror as I speak. Let me move this a little bit so I can look in the mirror at the same time. Again, this is a leg that I did. Of course, it would be better when it's actually sewn that way, because I literally have the safety pins on the inside of the leg, which you can't see it. That allowed for me to create that fit and that silhouette. So we still have it relaxed through the thigh. I know it might be kind of hard to see with the field of view, but it's still relaxed through the thigh, and it's relaxed through the hips like it, of course, like it was, but it just has a better taper throughout the leg, and it just has a better finish, in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. I think this is gonna be my point of reference for my communication to my manufacturer, because I prefer that finish throughout the leg much, much better. And hopefully you're able to pick that up, because this is like ballooning down here, and this is more streamlined, has better structure. And again, this is all my opinion, but in terms of fit, of preference, this is what I would prefer, this leg right here. Again, let me know what you guys think. Of course, the color was something I told you about in the message. The color of the brown and the green is not accurate.
These samples finished. They are not washed.
The wash, it has to be lighter in color. You have to match the Pantone.
Okay. Yeah, right. Pantone. You send us color from the PDF.
Do you have Pantone color cards? They gotta use that to match the color. These are other things I wanted to talk about. The pants, they need a better taper from the middle of the thigh down the leg. I put safety pins in here to adjust. It's 3 centimeters of a difference, and I'm hoping you can fix that on the new pants before you wash them.
For the sample, we have to fix it now.
Yes. Can you flip that inside out so I can see? The next thing I wanted to talk about were the tags.